Hi, I'm Melissa Shea, President and CEO of the Long Island Real Estate Investors Association. 2 decades ago, on a dare, I purchased my first home with no money down. I received $7,000 cash at the closing and earned $200 a month in passive income, all while my tenant was paying the mortgage.
Since then, we've purchased over $30 million in real estate and have taught people just like you how to do the same. Go to outofthe.ratracepodcast.com, register, and let us teach you how to become financially independent through real estate investing today. Hey guys, you're listening to Out of the Rat Race Podcast, the podcast that teaches everyday people how they can become financially independent through real estate investing. Be sure to like and follow our show so that you're kept up to date on all of our new content, which is uploaded 1 to 2 times a week. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. So, in case this is your first time joining, my name is John Shea, and sitting across from me today is Melissa and I's very good friend and business partner, Mr. Sean Toomey. How you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing fantastic, John. How about yourself?
Excellent. So today I want to ask you a few questions about finding the right type of property manager. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but first I want to ask you a little icebreaker question. That's the new
icebreaker.
One. First we started with like the random questions, and now I got an icebreaker right in the beginning just to kind of loosen everybody up. What did your 15-year-old self imagine that you would be doing right now?
To be honest with you, John.
No, lie to me.
I will never lie to you.
Okay.
But I think my 15-year-old self imagined what I'm doing right now. You know, working for myself, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman. And I've always wanted to do that, and that's the path I've chosen.
So it wasn't necessarily job specific. It wasn't, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a police officer. It was, I want to own my own company, and I want to make my own hours on my own terms and do everything for myself.
Exactly. I always thought outside of the box from people that I hung out with at that age.
Excellent. Yeah, it's like with your candy sales.
Yeah, everything.
You put the ice cream man out of business. Ice cream killer.
That's my nickname.
The ice cream killer. All right, so let's talk about property management. Now, I've dealt with my fair share of property managers, and I've also self-managed, and I know that you have too. Now, both have their advantages and their disadvantages. What did you start with? Did you start with property management, or did you start by self-managing? So, and then what? And then a follow-up to that. What led you to go to the other one?
Okay, so I started actually a lot different than other investors start. I started with a property manager. So a lot of people start out, you know, they manage the property themselves and they see all the heartaches and all the pains and they're like, let me get a manager. But I started with a property manager for the sheer fact that I bought a portfolio of properties that had a manager already.
Okay, so the property manager kind of followed over with the
she came with the deal basically.
Okay, and and that was in Memphis, I believe, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, but you've also done self-managing.
I have, yes.
And is that on the Memphis portfolio, or was that on different houses? So, like, what caused you to do the switch over and be like, let me self-manage this?
Well, so when I started to buy properties that were a little closer to where I lived in Connecticut, I saw that I could do the self-managing myself. I didn't need a property manager. I had a property manager that we had, and he ended up stealing a lot of money from us. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to try to do it myself for a little bit.
All right, cool. So walk me through the process here. How did you find them? Like, do you go online and search for them, or what's your process for actually locating a property manager?
So that's a good question, John. I do a lot of searching online, either through Facebook or other investor forums. And I just look for people who are investing in the area that I'm going to be investing in, and I see who they use for their managers. You know, I like to go that route because these are people that are just like me, and they kind of usually pick the right people for this.
Do you ever ask like real estate agents, like, do you know of a good property manager? Or
I do, but a lot of times they tend to recommend their buddies, so I'd rather hear it from investors themselves.
Gotcha. All right, so let's get into the first random question. Ooh. What is the number one thing people are always asking for you to help them with?
People are always asking me to help them analyze deals.
Really?
Always, yes.
Do you feel that you're good at that?
I'm pretty good at it. I come in pretty close to where it should be.
Good answer, man. All right, we're going to get into the next question here, but first I want to take a small break and talk about our good friend, Sal Rizzolo. Is this market driving you crazy? Even heading into the winter market, we're still dealing with never-before-seen hurdles for first-time homebuyers and investors alike. If you look close, a majority of these complications actually lie on the financing side of things, and that's why we've partnered with Sal Rizzolo, a branch manager at Cardinal Financial. Sal Rizzolo has closed over 500 loans in his time at Cardinal Financial and can confidently say he's encountered almost any financial situation in regards to home financing. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just somebody who wants information and clarification on how to proceed to the next step, Sal Rizzolo welcomes and encourages all of your calls. An investor and seasoned realtor prior to financing, all of your questions will be answered, whether it be from Sal personally or someone in his network. Feel free to reach out to Sal at 631-946-0654. Once again, that's 631-946-0654, and let him help you identify and get on the path to financial freedom. All right, we're back. Once again, thank you, Sal, for everything that you do. So let's get right back into it here. So to find a property manager, you found a property manager, and now you need to do your due diligence. So how do you check them out? How do you do your research?
The best way to do it is to interview them, John. And I like to ask a few specific questions on it. I like to ask, first of all, what do they charge? How do you handle maintenance? And what kind of support do you provide for both the tenant and me as the landlord? Okay.
Side question here, which is, I can answer this too, but like what kind of charges do they do? I know they do lease up fees.
Yeah, you got to really look through your agreement with them. They have lease up fees. They have up charges sometimes on maintenance. There's usually a flat percentage fee that they charge you just for managing the properties. They'll charge from anything from paperwork to stamps that they have to mail out things to you. There's all these random charges you have to be aware of.
It's very a la carte.
It is very a la carte. You think you're getting one thing, and then you end up with a whole different price, and you're like, where did all my money go?
All right, and this is not like one of the four questions here, but like, do you feel that the property management software that they use is important too? Because I know some places use AppFolio, some places use Rently, or they use different types of programs. Mm-hmm. Is that important to you? All
the programs basically do the same thing, but it is important to be able to log on and see how your house is doing, see if any repairs were done to it, and just overall just monitor what's going on.
All right. Excellent. All right. So random question number 2. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Has anyone ever accidentally seen you naked? And if so, who?
Oh my!
You can't say your wife, because if she walks in the room where you're changing.
Can you say your kids, or?
Well, if that happens, was it an accident? They just walk in the room where you're naked?
Yeah, the kids all do that stuff all the time, you know.
All right, so
we'll go surprise you.
We'll go with your kids. Was there anybody that's more exciting than just a 4-year-old?
Geez, I'm sure it's happened before to me, but I just can't think of an exact moment now.
All right. Third question here. Things tend to leak, break, and wear out over time. How do you handle your maintenance issues with self-management as compared to using a property manager? Okay,
so let me touch on self-management first.
Okay.
So I find the best way to do that is you set up a Google number where they text, my toilet's been leaking, can you send somebody to repair it? And then I go to my list of, the 3 plumbers I use in that area, and I call them up and see who can get there to replace it or to fix it. I mean, a lot of people are worried about self-management. What happens if you have an emergency and you can't be there because you're an out-of-state investor? Well, for most emergencies that are really big, they're going to call 911 anyway. So you don't have to worry about that. I mean, I can have anybody at a property within 24 hours, and that's reasonable to service to provide for your tenants.
Okay, and you brought up a good point, and we really didn't touch on it. Why would you give them a Google number and not your personal cell phone number?
Because I don't want them texting my personal device.
Blowing up your phone all hours of the day.
Yeah, because then it never stops. And at least the Google thing, I can, regard when it comes in, and it's not on my personal device.
And the main thing is that you actually do answer that Google phone call.
Exactly.
Right?
You have to answer. It's not like I'm trying to hide from them, but at the same time, I don't want them to have my personal number, have personal access to me, because that's my time.
Right. Okay. Excellent. So,
and that's like self-managing, John. So for property managing, when things break, I mean, a lot of times the property manager will handle it. So what I do with my managers is I give them a certain dollar amount. I say anything under $300, you can go ahead and fix.
Right.
If the repair is over $300, they have to contact me, and I have to approve it. And if it reaches above $600, then we have to go ahead and I have to approve it, obviously, and I have to get 2 to 3 different bids on it.
Right. And do you have the property manager give you the 3 different bids, or do you does your property manager allow you to call outside people, depending on whether or not they have like license and insurance? Or
Yeah. So she does let me call outside people. She doesn't care about that. Lots of times her repair people will come in cheaper because she's using them, or
on a
she
regular
or
basis,
he,
yeah.
depending on the property. Yeah, she uses them on a regular basis. So usually they come in a little bit lower than my guys, but I've had times when I've had guys come in. The biggest thing is, are they licensed and insured?
Right. And sometimes the property manager, and it's not in your case right now, but in my experience, they won't want you calling anybody other than using their own people that they have approved, whether or not they're licensed and insured, just because they can't make that extra money.
Exactly, yeah. Because I had this problem with my first property manager. I saw repair bills were through the roof, and I wasn't making any money. But then I found out that they were getting a cut of my repair bills, and that's why I was using their person.
Right. Not going to say any names, but was that Miss Tina?
That was,
yeah. Be careful.
She was notorious for that.
Oh man, and she calls more than tenants. She would call me 18 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
For this, ridiculous.
Yep.
But that was a good answer. So let's get into your pros and cons of self-management. What are some of the pros and cons that you would say are for self-management?
Well, one of the pros is you make more money.
Okay.
You're not giving that percentage to your property manager every month. And I think one of the biggest pros is you really learn the ins and outs of being a landlord and owning real estate. And you basically be given trial by fire. You have to react, and you have to know what to do when emergencies happen. And then I think another positive would be the relationships you develop with contractors. Lots of times those relationships will lead to other deals and other off-market things in the area. you know?
Right. What are some of the cons?
Some of the cons would be time. So it could be time consuming, and you have to react to these calls sometimes in the middle of your day. So if you're at work and you're in an important work meeting or something like that, you have to step aside and take care of these issues sometimes. And I think overall stress can be an issue. It can get stressful at times when you're self-managing.
Right. Especially because they might want you to come and see it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that when you're self-managing, it's probably a lot easier to handle, because we're saying you have to get all the calls and everything like that. If you're handling one or two properties and you actually keep up with your maintenance and everything like that, you're probably not going to get too many phone calls. Is that a safe assumption?
That's a very safe assumption, yeah.
But if you have 10 or more properties, obviously there's going to be more phone calls.
Yeah, once you start to have a lot of properties, it becomes beneficial for you to get a property manager, especially if you're investing out of state in a different time zone, or it's very difficult to manage 15 houses in one place without having a manager there. And it just you gotta weigh out what's important to you. Is it more important to have a manager, or can that time be used, finding more deals? Because the time you spend, doing someone's emergency, you could be finding 3 or 4 more deals that can make you more money.
And there's one big con that we left out of self-management, which I just thought of right now, which is when self-managing, you have to physically go to court to evict them. You have to physically do all the legalities of everything, late fees, and them explaining to you. When you're not on a personal level with them, you're more likely to let that slide or not want to deal with it.
Exactly, yeah.
And a property manager who gets paid off of, percentages of rent or whatever the case is fighting for you to get your money.
That is a good point, because you do tend to develop a relationship with these tenants, and you may feel bad if they, say they lost their job and they can't pay you rent. You may feel bad for them and be more likely to let things slide.
Which is a human condition.
Which is natural to all of us, But I mean, a property manager will be on top of them and say, no, you have to pay your rent, and if you can't afford this, then we have to get you out.
Right, and then you don't have to deal with them directly.
Exactly.
You would deal with the property manager. Maybe the property manager talks to you about working out a payment plan to get them caught up or something like that. You don't have to listen to the sad story.
The sob story, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's good pros and cons there. Random question number 3. If you could choose your last words, what would they be? It's a good one. That's going to make you think.
If I could choose my last words.
Mine, I can tell you mine.
All right, let me hear yours, then I'll piggyback off of that.
Well, shit. That would be it. Like right before I die.
I think.
Well, damn.
Well, I think a good one would be, oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
All right, so
that's mine. That's you made me think there, John.
His last words. Oh my. All right. Last question, and then we're going to get into the lightning round, if you're okay with that.
Oh, I'm always okay.
This is going to be a short episode, guys, but we just want to get the information out there.
Yeah, you know what? This is a short episode, but anybody feel free to contact us. I mean, you can go as long and as lengthy into property management as you want. There's a lot of good resources out there, but firsthand knowledge is always the best knowledge.
Right. And you 100% you want, well, this is my opinion, so I can't say 100%. If you're doing out-of-state investing, you want a property manager.
I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah. If it's local, then you could self-manage, because if it's out of state and I'm self-managing and somebody's ran out of oil, let's say, and they needed to have their burner bled, I'm not driving out of state to do it, and I don't want to pay $300 for a plumber to go and do it. Actually, if they ran out of oil, that's their own fault. So
exactly. Or you got to have a really strong team in place where they're on your payroll or they're getting something out of these deals.
Right. And you're not going to do that for one house.
No, you've got to have
one house out of state, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what are some of the pros and cons of using an actual property manager?
I think the number one pro would be less worry and stress. You don't have to worry about what's going on in that property at every moment of the day. Mm-hmm. And I think by having a property manager, real estate becomes a little bit more passive. It's not really you're actively investing, but it's more passive because someone else is handling all the issues and the problems.
Right.
And also, if you're out of state, it's less visiting of the properties. You don't have to go there every month to collect rent. You don't have to go there every repair that happens. You have someone taking care of that for you.
Right. And FaceTime and stuff like that does wonders.
Oh, yeah. Technology is awesome nowadays. Like, you can have someone doing a rehab for you out of state, and they could send you pictures every day of what they did and then what they're going to do tomorrow.
Right. Okay. What are some of the cons?
Some of the cons would be less money. You're going to have to pay anywhere from 8 to 12% a month to them. And also, okay, so another con of using a property manager is you have to kind of stay on top of them because they're not doing everything for you. And when people get comfortable, they tend to let things slide. They tend to try to take advantage of you. So you really have to be conscious and manage your property manager.
Right. Okay. I think another big con would probably be, and it's weird to think of it this way, is that you're not the only one.
That's true.
This property manager could be dealing with 500 properties and you have 5. Well, depending on the percentage, you might take a back burner.
Exactly. You might be the low man on the totem pole.
Yeah. Like we had that experience once where we had a property manager and they were doing really good for a while. And then stuff started to slip and we're like, what's going on? So we did like a surprise visit and we found out that they ended up taking on 3 apartment complexes. So who are they more likely to lease up to? Somebody in an apartment or a single family house? They're going to try to fill those apartments because they're getting a higher cut from the apartment complex.
Exactly, yeah. So you got to be conscious of of how many properties they're managing. You don't want them to manage a little bit. You don't want them to manage too many. You want them to be right in the middle there.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that being said, last night, if you guys were with us, we had a great Long Island RIA event. We actually had it at our office. And
in
Ronkonkoma. It was very exciting. We had a great time.
We always have a great time at those events, John. Those are a blast.
Those are always so fun. And if you guys did make it, thank you for coming. If not, we'll see you at the next one, which I believe, are we doing it in the office? Or
no, we're going to go back to Melville for the next one.
We're going to go to the Huntington Hilton in Melville. Do we have the date on that one yet?
Second Wednesday of February.
Let me pull up my phone. Hang on real quick. Second Wednesday of February. It looks like it's the 9th. Is that right? Yeah, we're the 9th is the second Wednesday in February. So really excited about that one. Stay tuned for information on that.
Yeah, we have some exciting information coming on, and we're having a few guests with us at our RIAs coming up. So just stay tuned. We have some really, really high-profile people coming into
April, right? There's a big one in April.
In May.
In May.
We can't announce it yet.
We can't announce it, but just stay tuned and listen for a very big special guest.
Yeah, we're super excited about that.
It's going to be blown out of the water. There's going to be a lot of people there as long as all the stars aligned.
Oh, it's going to align. We had a good talk yesterday about it.
Excellent. All right, so lightning round. You ready?
I'm ready. Go.
Favorite number?
3.
Do you have a birthmark and where?
I have one on the back of my elbow.
Was the moon landing faked?
That's a loaded question, but I'm going to go with no.
I just wanted to see what kind of conspiracies you believed in. All right, so it was not fake. It was
not
real.
Fake, no.
Cold cereal or oatmeal?
Oatmeal.
All-time favorite business book?
I like Simon Sinek's Start With Why. And
Simon Sinek, Start With Why?
Yeah, I think it's a really good book. I think it's important to know why you're doing it. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters why you do it.
Excellent. And what exercise do you loathe and totally avoid?
I would say probably running. I hate running on a treadmill, running in the wide open. I hate running. I'd rather do anything else but run.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite, one of my favorite phrases is from, I think, Back to the Future 3, where Doc Brown is telling everybody, we in the future they run for fun, and the cowboys are like, run for fun? What the heck is that all about? Nobody's chasing you. There's no reason to run.
Yeah,
I can't stand running. It's bad for your knees too.
Exactly. Yeah, it's no good. There's where the better ways you could do it.
Yeah. All right. If you guys want to reach out to Sean, what's your contact information? Always,
you can email me, Sean, SEAN @LIREIA.com. That's probably the best way to get me.
And you can call our number, 631-343-8700, and just follow the prompts, and you should be able to reach Sean.
Perfect.
All right. Always a pleasure having you on.
It's always a pleasure to be on, John.
All right. Guys, real estate investing is the pathway to success, but education is key. Go to outoftherratracepodcast.com, register, and receive the ebook that explains to you where to get the money to begin investing in real estate today. Stop chasing the cheese and learn how to make it for yourself, because only then can you truly escape the rat race. From Melissa, myself, Sean Toomey, and our team, happy investing.